We have with us, joining us now, the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, Mark Herring. Mr. Attorney General, great to have you with us. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you. It's great to be back on the show with the Commander of Common Sense.
That's me, and the new svelte Commander of Common Sense. When you start as high up as I've been, losing 7. I came in today. I said, "Hey, Courtney, I lost 17 pounds." She's like, "Really?" It's like, thanks for the encouragement.
Well, congratulations and keep up the good work.
I know. Well, we'll have to see. It's going to be tough during the holidays, especially with those sugar cookies and everything else out there. Now, Mr. Attorney General, the first thing I want to get to, and I really, really have to commend you for this, Freedom Furniture is a parasite company in Virginia Beach that has been really putting our servicemen and women in a very bad spot. You went after that. Can you share with our audience kind of that entire story?
Sure. Well, what we did was partner with the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau as well as the Attorney General from North Carolina in an investigation of Freedom. And Freedom it's Freedom Stores. They also have a couple of other affiliates known as Freedom Furniture and Electronics and some others. And what we did was, in partnering with them over the last several months and investigating their activities, what we found was that they were engaging in illegal debt collection practices, specifically targeting our service members. And just to give your listeners a sense of some of the things that they were doing is they were illegally filing thousands of lawsuits in Virginia against service members who don't live in Virginia and haven't been in Virginia. So they were suing them illegally and at the same time abusing Virginia courts to do it. They were doing things called double dipping into service members' funds. So a lot of the service members would consent to payments by their military allotment, but the companies also required them to authorize withdrawals from bank accounts as a backup payment method, and sometimes they would have their payments taken out from both the paychecks and their bank accounts in the same month, sometimes without their knowledge and before the payment was due. They would, in some cases, contact commanding officers to pressure and humiliate service members. And sometimes they would illegally debit bank or credit card accounts of the service member's family and their friends. And, these are violations of law. They're not allowed. They're illegal debt collection practices. And our nation's service members deserve better than to be targeted with illegal collections tactics like that when they're struggling to pay their bills. And so what we've done is we have agreed to a settlement of these claims, and the companies are paying $2.5 million in consumer redress, as well as a $100,000 civil penalty. And that's the kind of action that will send, I think, a clear message to Freedom, as well as to others who might engage in these types of illegal business practices, that we are going to continue to protect the rights of our service members and all Virginia consumers.
Well, I tell you, Mr. Attorney General, we're excited about what you've done because we've been following this company for some time, and it's a company that has actually set their business plan up on extorting basically money from service members that can't fight a judgment because they're 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles away. So I commend your effort in there. I want to get to your statewide human trafficking awareness campaign. It's getting to the holidays, Mr. Attorney General. Human trafficking in Virginia is real. It's getting bigger, and it's under the radar screen. Can you share what your strategy is?
Yes, well, what we're doing is trying to bring public awareness to this issue. It's, as you mentioned, it's a growing problem really worldwide, including here in the U.S., and we can't pretend that it is not happening here in Virginia. In fact, this year, Virginia had the fifth highest number of human trafficking cases referenced on the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Experts believe the reason there's that much activity in Virginia is because we've got international airports, we've got ports, we've got a lot of interstates, and human traffickers will often use those interstate corridors to cross the state lines. And so what we're doing in order to try to both raise public awareness about it, but also let victims know that they can get help and how to get help is we've got a number of billboards going up around the state on the major interstates. In the Hampton Roads region, it includes a couple of them, one on I-64 in Newport News and one on I-664 in Hampton. We're also putting out information, stickers on mirrors in the restrooms of rest areas. We're putting out information in those rest stops. And what we want to do and what we want to accomplish is, again, to let potential victims know how to get help, and to also help Virginians think about this as a broader kind of who might be at risk, that there's a broad spectrum of people who are at risk of human trafficking. Most often, they're women between the ages of 20 and 49. It crosses all socioeconomic stratas.
Right.
And it's a growing problem. And this is something that our office has been involved with for a number of years. So it's not just my administration. We're continuing and building on the efforts, but it was also something that my predecessor, Attorney General Cuccinelli, had worked hard on.
Mark Herring, Mr. Attorney General, your efforts on human trafficking, how does it tie in with Senator Mark Obenshain and some of the things that he has done?
Well, I had mentioned that this is an issue that Attorney General Cuccinelli had worked on, and Senator Obenshain had brought forward some legislation, which I had supported. Mm-hmm. And all of that, some of it was aimed at awareness. Some of it was aimed at trying to make sure that if there were victims, that they knew that they could get help and how to get help. There's also been legislation to try to make human trafficking a specific crime, so there would be some additional tools that law enforcement and prosecutors would have. And this is, kind of one area of crime prevention, one area of law enforcement that we're active in and we're going to continue to be active in. While most crimes are prosecuted by Commonwealth's attorneys in their localities, there are certain areas where we have some joint responsibility, things like human trafficking being one, but the broader crime, gang violence, computer crime, where we're trying to keep children from being exploited over the internet and social media.
Right.
And these are growing areas. Criminals more and more are turning to the internet and social media to perpetrate crimes against Virginians.
No question. I've got a couple more minutes, Mr. Attorney General. I want to talk for a second about something you're doing in Southeast Virginia. You're partnering with the city of Norfolk on a $1 million, you're calling it a gun and gang violence reduction program. How does that work?
Well, this is really a partnership where there's a $500,000 grant from the federal government and $500,000 that we're putting in that was a part of asset forfeiture funds. So these are not taxpayer dollars. They're funds that had come from criminals that are being used to fight crime. And what we're doing here is enhancing some of our prosecution of very serious violent crimes, and at the same time also combining that with crime reduction strategies that we know have been proven to work in other areas, because certainly tough prosecution and law enforcement is a part of it,
right?
But it's more than just locking people up. We also have to couple it with prevention and education and work with at-risk youth to try to help make sure that as they're in middle school and high school and early adult, that they are making good choices They understand the consequences of joining a gang. That those myths that gang members put out there to our youth are just that. They're false. They're myths.
Right.
And so we're combining both of those kind of efforts, those crime reduction strategies. And this is not because there's any specific issue with Norfolk. In fact, gang activity is occurring all over the state. No region is immune from it. But there are some things that Norfolk was doing already with community-based approaches to reducing violent crime that we thought we could supplement that and kind of leverage those resources.
All right, we're out of time. We want to thank Attorney General Mark Herring for being with us today. He's working on some very critical things in Virginia that he just shared. You want more information? Here's all you have to do. Go to oag.state.va.us, oag.state.va.us. Mr. Attorney General, thank you so much for being with us today, and have a fabulous holiday and a great Christmas.
Thank you. It's great to be back, and I wish you and all of your listeners a safe and happy holiday as well.
Okay. When you see me in Richmond, if you don't recognize me, I'll put a little sign on, because you'll be like, who is that guy with that svelte figure? Is it? He used to be the heavy guy. So I'm just saying, I just don't want you to be shocked.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right.